Hi, everybody. Yes, the portal is open. Welcome today. Yesterday, we had a Lightmaster class and we brought in the portal. We talked a lot about it. The scientist of the heart gave quite a long channel about it, talked about what we're going to be doing. We'll do that today, too. We will be talking about the portal that opened yesterday. For those of you who may not know exactly what we're talking about, last month, the group, I think it was last month, the group talked about a portal that is opening on all of planet Earth. And they basically said that it's going to be open from March 24th through August 27th. So we've got quite a ways to work with this portal. What is it exactly? I'm going to let the group tell you exactly about it because they're much better at this, much better at this than I am. Exactly. All right, let's try the old karma checker here. See where we're at. Oh no, absolutely nothing today. Come on, we got to do it again. All right, there we go. There's a secret to my karma checker. Yeah, exactly. And we always have good karma. Isn't that interesting that we always manage to have good karma one way or the other? So, well, you know what? We create our own reality, don't we? So that's the reality of it. Welcome today. Glad you're all here. This is very exciting to me because I get to play a little bit with it and bring some of this energy in and so forth. I'm also getting ready to head out to Belgium fairly soon. I'm very excited about doing my first event in person in quite some time, several years now. And we're going to be in Leuven, Belgium. We'll play some promos about it here because we've got a lot going on. We've got two things we're really talking about this time besides the portal opening. We're also talking about next month we're reversing things. So what we had going on was the first 2 Fridays of each month were the empowerment stream. And that's basically the focus channels, whatever we're focusing on. This last month, it was all about the bodysuit. Fascinating new information about the bodysuit. Absolutely incredible. And if you sign up today for Lightmaster, you'll get that bodysuit because it was the first two sections of the month. We're going to reverse those. We had the first two, the focus, and we had the bottom two, the Lightmaster, and we're going to reverse them. We're going to bring Lightmaster in as the first two of each month because they're not always on the same channel. A lot of times when we're talking about the bodysuit, something of that nature, when it comes to the Lightmaster course, the group will cover something else entirely. Sometimes they'll take it and go a little further with it, but sometimes they won't. But anyway, this bodysuit piece was a big piece. You can buy it separately. You can buy just the one piece. It is in the store as the bodysuit, but you can also buy it. You can also get it as part of the Lightmaster signups. If you sign up this month, you get the bodysuit. If you sign up at the beginning of next month on the 1st of April, then you're going to get the next month, which is relationships. This whole series is all about the portal opening and what we can do to hold it open, how we can hold more love in our heart, in our connections, and so forth to be able to do that. So we covered the bodysuit, which is really important because the bodysuit is going to be covered in all the other ones that are coming. So we've covered the bodysuit. And by the way, that's what we're going to be working with in Leuven. We're going to be working with programming the bodysuit as a modality. I'm very excited about that. We'll tell you more about that later. But basically, the bodysuit was the first part of the series. The second part is about relationships, the most intimate relationships that we can have. When you hold someone so close that you can see your reflection in their heart. That is something the group really wants to talk about relationships in general, but also intimate relationships. That's really what we're going to focus on. So if you want to improve your relationship or if you want to create one that you haven't got started, this is a perfect opportunity to do that. Right after that, in May, we're going to be covering sex. Absolutely. The group has a lot to say about sex. And that's kind of interesting because they've never been to Earth. But anyway, we're going to be covering the bodysuit, and that's not the physical bodysuit, by the way. That's an energetic bodysuit that we wear to play the game, kind of like an avatar type of situation. So Anyway, we covered the bodysuit. We're going to be covering relationships, and then we'll be covering sex in May. But you'll see ads today about the relationship and about the programming the bodysuit that we're working with in Leuven. This coming up on the 15th and 16th of April. I'm looking forward to getting back out there. It will be somewhat of a smaller group. We have kind of a small room. So if we do run out of space, we will put up a sold out sign on there. Right now we still have room, but it is selling pretty quickly. I will say that. We're very pleased at the incredible response that we've been getting from it. So if you're in Belgium, if you're in Holland, if you're in Germany, and you want to come join us, or France, or anywhere in Europe, you want to come join us, it's a great opportunity too. And we're right there at the Radisson in Leuven. Okay, anyway, you can find out more about that on the website. Yesterday, the portal opened. The group talked about what to expect, how we can work with this, some other things. We'll talk about that today too. I'm sure both channels are going to be on that. We'll get to the first channel pretty soon. On top of that, we've got our regulars here. Jill's here with her new piece. I can't remember exactly the title of it, but it's coming up pretty good. It's really good. And then Meg's here with her piece. And then, of course, Allison is here with the projection for the next year going forward. And Sandy Sedgebeer is here with a book called The Dark Side of the Light Chasers. So it's interesting stuff coming up. So anyway, I hope you all enjoy the show today. I'm very much looking forward to it. So Espavo, everybody, I'm going to get right into it. I've got a lot going on. I am going to go into channel here in just a sec. Oh, the Zoom. Let's talk about that. One of the things that we have going now today is Zoom. And by the way, if you were listening for the music in the beginning, music does not play in Zoom. So you may hear little fragments of it or something of that nature, but even though there's a button for it, it does not work clearly. So if you're hearing that, just know that that's part of the situation. You want to hear the music. Actually, there's no more music today. So only the music at the beginning and the end is about pretty much all that we're going to be working with here. So anyway, we're going to be doing that, but in the Zoom, if you want to go into Zoom and you can ask a question, and I will read the questions, although that just basically tells me who's in order reading, because I will read the question very briefly, and then I will make you live. When I make you live, I'm going to bring you in as a panelist. You'll have a little thing show up on your screen that says he wants you to join as a panelist. You have to press that to be okay with it. And then you have to unmute your microphone and your camera. Okay? So that'll be the kind of the procedure. I will do some pretty quick readings here. What that is when I first come in contact with somebody, the group shows me something. And I'm going to take just the very first thing that they show me and go into it with you. Some of you have been with us for years. Some of you have done these readings over and over and over again with different ways. So I hope I don't tell you the same thing. If I do, it's validating at least. But anyway, we'll try to bring you some new information as much as possible. Excuse me. Still early for me. I got to clear the throat and get everything going. But it is an exciting day to be alive here on planet Earth. The portal is open. What that means, what's going to happen with that, how that's going to work. That's all material that the group's going to talk about, but it's very exciting. I'm very pleased to be here and talking about it in this way. And we've also heard from Jeff Hoppe, who predicted on the 21st instead of the 24th. He predicted the Heaven's Cross, which is coming from the Crimson Circle material. From Adamus over there. So I thought it was kind of interesting that we came very close about talking about this big opening thing that's taking place. So anyway, fascinating stuff. I will talk to Jeff at some point, Jeff and Linda, wonderful people, incredible stuff. Again, Crimson Circle. But we're all family. So welcome home, everybody. Glad you're here today. Yeah, we'll be going through quite a lot of these today. I will be doing, like I said, sharing with you some of the information that we've got, but I'm very excited to be here today, even if I don't have any karma. That's okay. Or maybe my karma was bad. Maybe that's what that means. I'm sure I've got some karma somewhere along the way. So anyway, welcome home. All right, everybody, I'm going to show you a quick commercial because we have several of them this time. But I'm going to show you that really quick, and then I will be back with the first channel from the group. Spava, everyone. Hi, Lightworkers. Welcome. You know, I'm Steve Rother, and I'm the channel for the group here at Spava. And I want to tell you all that we've just started a whole new series of seminars called Human Lessons for the Spirit. And they're very powerful because they're basically from the other side of the veil. The spirit group, the group, is actually looking at us from a totally different perspective and being able to share with us things that we can't see ourselves. And in that, we wanted to do the human lessons for the spirit. Because we're all basically spirits pretending to be humans. How do we do that exactly? Well, that's what the group brought us. So in March, when we started this, we started off with the bodysuit, a different way of looking at humanity and how we function in life, and also how to work with that. So we started with those 2 days in March, and then in April, we go right into relationships. And I'm very pleased to be working with relationships on this level. These are intimate relationships we're talking about. We're not talking about friendships or relationships at work. We're talking about the most difficult relationship most people have. To hold someone so close that you love the reflection in their eyes. And without taking on their energy or without their taking on your energy. Some beautiful things that the group has to say about that, how to improve existing relationships, or if you've shut them off in your life, how to recreate that, how to start that flow again, just from sending out this simple energy. The month after that, in May, we go into sex, talking about that next level of communication. But in April, we're going to be working with relationships on those deep levels. And we've got a lot to work with here. So come join us. We'll share with you the group's view of pretending to be a human. Spava, everyone. And with that, let's bring in the group, shall we? Just take a slow, easy breath. Release it slowly. Find your center. Greetings, dear ones. I am the scientist of the heart. I join you with such pride this day, for you have made a milestone in your history. You may not see it for a few years because that's typically how humans work. You don't actually see many of the big things that take place until you look at it from times past. Well, dear ones, we tell you, many of you watching this now, most of you, have traveled back 300 years in the future to be here at this moment. And there's many things that are taking place. There's many opportunities for you to hold this light and to ground it in different ways. But we also tell you there was a very specific area that all of you decided you needed to be here for. And we tell you this is one of those magical moments. This is a time where you can change your world, every part of it. We'll talk about it in general too. As we come in later, Merlia will come in after a short time, and she will tell you more about how you can connect to those other parts of yourself to start creating this perfect being, at least more perfect than you are now, by reconnecting many of the dimensions that you hold. But today, I wish to speak about something else, because you're not the only one experiencing this portal. Keep that in mind. The Earth herself is experiencing this portal. And many things are starting to take place with her as well. Now, again, you'll see some of the changes that happen, but keep this in mind, dear ones, that there was, not too long ago, we told you there was a critical point coming up on planet Earth. And the point was very simple. It was a point where you would reach 8 billion people on the planet. At that 8 billion mark, the planet herself had to decide what to do. Can she still supply all these 8 billion people? Can she bring a place of safety to 8 billion people. Can she carry that load? And she had several choices that she had to make. The portal opening actually creates another opportunity for her as well. So you're not the only ones that are experiencing this. Now, quite some time ago, quite some years ago, back in 2007, we started speaking about something that was taking place on planet Earth that is continuing to this day, and that's the redistribution of water. We talked about the Earth having a wobble. We talked about the Earth being out of balance. And one of the ways that the natural balance would be returned to planet Earth was through the redistribution of water. Very simple. If you have a wobble over here and you bring that water over here, it balances it out in many ways. Well, you've been experiencing this. You've seen the results of this. Many times these are massive floods. Other times they're droughts to move water from one place to another. And of course, there's 3 elements that you have to deal with having to do with water and the human experience. And that's that they get too much, too little, or too dirty. Those are the 3 elements that you're working with water on planet Earth. And we tell you water is going to be a huge element of concern going forward, fresh water. That is going to be one of the interesting things. We've talked about water wars that will take place. We've talked about a lot of things. They're already beginning in some areas. So we'll tell you that there's more to that coming, but the redistribution of water began in 2007 because a very interesting thing was taking place. The core of your Earth, the very heart of your planet, is made up of largely nickel, but it's a very dense material, and it's solid, which is interesting because it's also about the temperature of the sun, of the surface of the sun. And of course, that solid ball floats in a pool of magma, so it kind of floats in there in different ways. And we mentioned to you what was causing the wobble. The first wobble on planet Earth was caused specifically by this inner core changing its turn in relationship to the outer. So you've got the mantle, the crust of planet Earth that's turning every day, 24 hours a day, shifting around, completing a full circle. And you've got the core, which was actually moving faster than the outside. And that caused an imbalance in different areas. This is what we say caused the energetic wobble of planet Earth. It wasn't serious, but it certainly is something that caused a reaction, which is why you have all this redistribution of water, basically balancing things, still going on. And it's going to continue for some time. So with this, what took place was interesting. And this was back in 2007. In 2009, the inner ball seemed to stop. Now, we'll also tell you, dear ones, there is a lot of arguments and frustration among scientists to try and quantify exactly what happened and how the measurements are correct and if that's actually measuring what they think it's measuring and so forth. So this is the scientific community at its best, and that's what it does anyway, is question things. So there's a lot of discussion about whether this was actually happening or not. But we tell you, for the most part, that center ball slowed so slow that the Earth was continuing to move and the ball was moving very, very slowly. That creates a magnetism. That is not the magnetism you see on the face of your Earth. The face of your Earth, in what you call magnetic north, is basically a bunch of lodestones fairly close to the surface and be able to move. And they move as well because they're part of another field of magma, which also moves that field around quite a bit. So that is different. But what you have here is a very basic magnetic energy. Now, if you keep in mind that when we talk about humans, we talk about the brain being electrical and the heart being magnetic. Well, this is the heart of planet Earth. And it definitely sends out an energy, although you can't always measure that with your measuring devices. You can't always measure that in Tesla. You can't always measure that in those areas. But it does create a situation on your planet. Now, the last time this shifted, back in 2007 and then in 2009, what took place was you started seeing massive redistributions of water. You started seeing things react in different ways. People reacted as well. People also feel that same energy and have reactions to it. But it had much more of an effect on the planet itself than it did on the people. This is a little different. Now this portal has opened. And what is taking place is that inner core is starting to move ever so slightly in the opposite direction. And that is creating a new magnetic field, a new heart energy, if you will, of planet Earth. It's actually very exciting for us to watch, and yet we know it's very confusing for humans. So this is one of the many things that we did, and you're all interested in your next steps. What's going to take place? How can you use this portal? How can you keep this portal open, which is what we're charging you to do? Well, that's information that Maria is going to speak about fairly soon. But we wanted to tell you also, you're not alone in this. The Earth is going through this as well. Now, this is strictly planet Earth that is experiencing this. Not just the Earth, but all of her inhabitants, all animals, all plants, everything on planet Earth has this opening of this portal. Now we tell you, you are multidimensional in nature, and that's what this portal is opening. It's opening the multidimensional walls between your own existence, which allows you to improve yourself. That's why we've given you these special select courses that we're working with over this period of time that the portal is open. There are courses that we have designed specifically for humans from the perspective of the spirit. We call them human lessons for the spirit. It began with a bodysuit. It will go through different levels of being a human, because what you have now with this portal open is the opportunity to gain things from your other dimensional realities. That is normally closed. You have a blind spot, a complete blind spot, when it comes to your other realities and how they work. So now with this open, you have opportunities of regaining some of your perfection. And every part of that you can hold, every piece of this that you can bring yourself to the next level, that not only improves your life, it raises all of humanity. Little increments at a time. And you will see this. Now we also tell you there are systems on your planet that are going to have difficulty with this rise in vibration. Systems that were built on lower vibrational principles, systems that were built for lower vibrational people. As things change, these systems are going to have difficulties. You're seeing that happening right now, even before the portal completely opened. You're seeing it with the banking industry. That is what has happened. You're starting to see the legs being pulled out on different areas and vulnerabilities showing up that you quite honestly didn't know about. Now, is this going to be a complete collapse? We don't think so. We think you may have caught it early enough to be able to stop it before it spreads. And this all has to do with the human attributes, with the human energies, what humans are thinking, and more importantly, what they're afraid of. Now, you've got a lot going on with this, but we're also working with you and your bodysuits to encourage yourself, to bring you to this next level, to start improving any area of life that you can. If you basically hold the energy and try to improve your life in some way and connect with people around you in different ways, you not only change your life, but you also plant an important seed that is absolutely critical, having to do with you, having to do with your life and what you can evolve going forward. So much is underfoot today. You've got a lot of things happening. And we tell you there's other systems that may experience difficulties because of being built in the lower vibrations of the old planet Earth. You also have relationships, some of which will naturally seem to go apart. Some of which that have been apart may seem to come together. which is why we wanted to address relationships in this next month. And we'll be doing that in April. And also we'll be dealing with programming the bodysuits as well, which we're very excited about, to show you a different way that you can have more control over your own life and program yourself instead of everyone else programming you, which is what happens on a regular basis on planet Earth. You can find out the secrets of this, of how they do it, how they work with you, and you can do it yourself in a very positive way. So these are things that are all coming up for change, and you can follow this, or you can follow whatever is drawing your attention to help you improve. As you improve anything, you raise vibration of the collective vibration of humanity. And you also make it easier for the planet to ground her new energy and to find what she needs to make all of these things come together and provide a safe space for humanity working together. It's an incredible time to be on planet Earth, dear ones. And many of you, as we mentioned, have traveled back some 300 years from the future to be here at this critical time. This is not the only thing that you came back for, but most of you came back around this time so that you would be here during this exciting piece. We'll also tell you, dear ones, we're talking about it as this wonderful connection where everybody can find more perfection in themselves, and yet we also tell you that there is liable to be some fear from this. And that people that go into fear, as conscious creators, you can create more of what you're holding between your head and your heart during the times that the portal is open. So you've got a chance. And what we've been telling you about this whole thing is a question. How much love can you hold? How much love can you experience in your daily life on every aspect? Because that's what's going to hold the portal open and change everything with the planet Earth and begin the new game, basically. Start the whole new process where you're writing these things over. You're starting over with new rules, which you will write as you work. Absolutely amazing to see what you have created here in this time frame. Absolutely beautiful. So with that, we're going to share with you a little bit more about that, but we also tell you there may be people that go into fear. We can almost guarantee you there will be those who decide to try and control this energy and to try and use control the same way that they've done before, which is why we wanted to talk about the bodysuits. The bodysuits can be easily controlled by other people. They run on automatic 98% of the time. And if people know what your biases are and how to address things, they can work with you in the bodysuit. But we also tell you, if you're aware of it, they can't. If you're aware of what's happening, you see the triggers they're playing, you see the games that they're working with, then all of a sudden things change. And you start taking your own power, which is what this is all about. It's very easy for humans to give away their power on planet Earth. It's one of the most comfortable things a human can do. You say, oh, I don't have to worry about this. Someone else is taking care of that. But in reality, dear ones, you're the only ones that can do that. And the word espavo means exactly that. Thank you for taking and holding your own power. That's when the magic happens. And not just with you, but with all of planet Earth. The time is here, dear ones. You've done an excellent job of preparing for what is coming. You've all known it on some level. Many of you remember it from home. Many of you have contracts about bringing some of these things in specific ways. And we tell you that's underway now. It's happening. But we're very excited to be here. We're very excited that you are here. You made it. Welcome home. Welcome home. Now with this, we're going to ask you to connect to your other dimensional selves. Merlia will talk more about that, about how that is done. You've built the base of it already because last month we asked you to build a triad. Yes, we know it was confusing. 3 or 4 people doesn't make any difference. Build a triad of people that you trust. That will help you mark your evolution. That will help you do things. The bodysuit itself always works with society. It always works and measures itself and measures its growth against societal norms. So you're going to be doing this as well in these areas, but also to connect to yourself and to trust that, to step forward and to try some new things. Change is at hand, dear ones, and humans don't always do change well. But this is different, because you've always been perfect beings. You are a perfect spirit. But since humanity cannot support perfectness on planet Earth, you hid it in your 11 dimensions. Now, as this portal begins to open, you can start reclaiming some of that perfection. It does mean that you'll have to change some of your belief systems. It does mean you'll have to be open for new ideas. It does mean you'll have to be willing to take those steps and try new things. But it's time. And it's here and it's possible. More now than ever before. And we're very excited about it, dear ones. Your connection is here. It's worked. Well done. You have created it purposely. Well done. And with that, I leave you for the time being. As we mentioned, Merlia will come in and be able to bring you through the next levels of all of this. But there is a lot of things going on. Welcome home. And welcome from 300 years in the future. You've made it. Good job. Aspav, everyone. I am the scientist of the heart, and I love you dearly. Aspavo.
Hello, Lightweavers. I'm going to call this program Rules of Engagement. In a Life is a Spiritual Soup podcast, I introduce the audience to spiritual rules of engagement. I also indicated there were no spiritual rules of navigation while exploring life on Earth. Well, sort of. There are, however, factors that optimize life when you understand fundamental energy principles. Important texts have documented cultural life and provided laws of behavior designed to provide steerage for a specific era's inhabitants for centuries. Amazingly, most holy texts present similar guidelines, but perhaps translated to conform to that particular culture's needs. While all presented guidelines that represent moral laws of conduct, there may be more fundamental guidelines that underlie more optimistic life navigation on Earth. Here are some considerations to ponder. Through universal design for humanity, there is no judgment. In God's mansion, there is no guilt placed upon you, and there is no blame. But there is accountability, and that is an action you preside over. And by the way, you will eventually want to resolve outstanding issues you deem out of alignment with your highest design. The first navigational guideline I want to share is nothing that is out of alignment with your intended harmonious design can remain. This guideline may take some time to evolve and will include where you live, where you work, relationships. Some new relationships will present, and some will drift away. And when you find yourself in an awkward or compromising scenario and this feeling continues to replay, it's an indication staying within this environment isn't complementary to your energy. Ponder this for a moment. What if you knew that everything you did matters? Would you change anything? You should know that as the creative conduit for your experience, you get to alter any pattern that is not serving your highest potential. And are you aware that everything you do in this life is building a foundation on how you will experience your spiritual life? And I do hope you're comfortable with the concept that there is life after death, and more importantly, that there is more than one life to live. With a changing energy grid, Are you finding you are able to manifest much quicker? And this could be a good thing, or perhaps not. Here's a concept you might want to be aware of. Thought generates the energy that determines light frequency. While your current life situation may seem hopeless, with a little positive thinking, some research into your life elements, and how you could potentially make this better, anything can change. And should you think that your thoughts don't count when considering your actions, thoughts are things. Better to act less in haste and more in consideration of all factors that might have led to the untoward desire for action. Our planetary design is based on the principles of thought amplified by emotion and creative focus that translates into the energy systems that become the living matrix for your physical design. And while on the idea of thought, how about this guideline? Words carry vibration. Choose the words you use wisely. Utilizing words that lower your own vibration seems counterintuitive. It is beneficial to maintain a higher vibration to insulate you from lower vibrational influences. And this guideline is always number one. Live your life in love. Within universal design reside two main components that define our living matrix: love and light. Light is the refracted energy measured on wavelengths of density. And this is from the King James Bible. What is darkness? 'Tis but the absence of light. And what is light? 'Tis but the breath of God vibrating in the rhythm of rapid thought. How one experiences life is largely dependent on several factors. First, an individual belief system, and I love this because Steve and the gang call this BS, aka belief systems. Number two, the choices made during any life voyage. Number three, the contract one makes with their spiritual designer before entering a physical life. Number four, the individual creative direction applied to life. Number five, manifestation is a creative soup with the ingredients composed of thought. The physical matrix of the earth is a world of free choice laced with opposing energy frequencies, and these include positive and negative ingredients. Whichever positive or negative ideation you focus on the most is the manifestation that appears first. The magic in the formula is that changing thought to a more positively oriented focus will change the frequency of the energy you are projecting and begin to magnetize more optimal experiences. What will a new vision for your world that you wish to live in represent? A new vision would find our global neighbors working hand in hand to solve our problems. Here are some preferred visions to focus upon. See if any resonate with the world direction of your own design. Will you create a world where harmonious interaction with all neighbors can exist? Will you choose peace over war? Will you live in a world where no child goes hungry, knows no fear, and doesn't experience violence? Will you live where governing bodies would serve their constituents with decisions made for the good of all, regardless of any party affiliation? Will you live in a world where equality exists for all mankind? Will you create a world that is dedicated to providing for all its inhabitants, working to restore balance to Earth's resources and to preserve all life upon her? Will you create a world where freedom exists to express one's uniqueness without any fear of condemnation? And will you create a world where nations work together to feed and shelter their inhabitants? Will you create a world where great minds collaborate to provide new technology and healing intervention so all can experience abundant life. And just to be clear again, anything can change. As long as a cumulative energy has not reached a toxic state, we, as a collective body of light, can change anything. The reference is that one candle can light an entire dark space. Imagine what focused energy can accomplish with a common goal. Prayers matter. What you do matters. I hope you enjoyed this presentation. I'm an author. You can check out the books available on Amazon through my website. I am a podcast host for Life is a Spiritual Soup. That's available on Spotify, or you can access it again off of my website, JulianaRaymond.com. I'm a part of an international team of profound healers conducting Diamond Rose activations. You can find access to monthly group sessions through diamondroseactivations@gmail.com. And finally, I'm available for private consultations, and you can contact me at julianaraymond@gmail.com. I think Steve's back in the studio now, so I'm going to turn it back to Steve. Bye for now.
Thanks, Julie. Awesome stuff. Awesome. The rules of engagement. I love that. Actually, the scientist of the heart loved this. Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. Well done. Okay, be back in just a minute with the next level of the VirtualLight Broadcast. Welcome, light workers. I want to explain to you what's going to be doing in Leuven, Belgium, coming up on April 15th and 16th of this year. We're going to be doing our first in-person seminar in a very long time. Since pre-COVID, we have not done any seminars online or in person at all. We're going to start doing that again. And we're very pleased to be opening up here in Leuven to be able to bring you the bodysuits. We're going to be doing it differently than what we brought here, because we've just presented the bodysuits in a 2-day part of the seminar here in the focus of the empowerment stream. We're going to be taking that to the next level and actually presenting this as a healing modality, because it's very powerful when you use it to the next level. For those of you who have taken the bodysuits here in the first 2 days, you'll be very interested to know how we take that into a healing modality and how we learn how to program our bodysuits, which is something we only scratch the surface of during these 2 days. We're going to be taking 2 full days to not only to be able to bring the new material, but to interact with other people in the room, which is really important in this particular area. So we're going to be bringing a whole different level to be able to bring that. The Radisson, where we're having this, is right next to the train station. For those of you who want to take the train to be able to be here, you can reserve a room in the Radisson if you want, or anywhere you'd like. It doesn't make any difference. On top of that, there's lots of wonderful places to eat right there. So we did not try to gather a big lunch or try to organize things. We're going to keep it very simple this time. And what you can do is basically we're going to have an hour-and-a-half lunch. There's all kinds of places you can walk to very quickly right there. We'll be bringing you more material about this coming up on the webpage that talks about this. But I'm very excited not only to get back out there, but to start collecting my hugs again. I am hug starved, so come join us and share a hug with me as we start reconnecting in person at the Espavo events again. This one will all be about programming the bodysuit. How do we program that automatic part of ourselves that seems to run on automatic most of the time? We'll share a little bit about that and how we can actually do that, and actually give you some exercises to work with that energy. I'm very excited to be presenting this for you, and very excited to get back in person to where we can see you face to face. Espavo, everyone. Come join us. Leuven, April 15th and 16th. Espavo.
Hi, everybody. So nice to be back with you. again this month of March 2023. Let's dive right in. This month, what I want to talk about is the power of imagery. I call it the forgotten power of the mind. See, most of us have learned through how we were raised, through society, in our conscious mind, to be very conscious mind dominant. That's our five senses, right? How we take in the world. That's our logic. That's our inductive and deductive reasoning. That's our intellectualization. All those processes happen in the conscious mind. The subconscious mind, however, has two dominant languages. The first is very literal, like a fifth grader. Subconscious mind doesn't speak or respond in flowery, poetic type language. That is beautiful, but really when we're speaking in, think about songs and music, we have feelings, but we're conjuring things. And as we're feeling it, we're analyzing it. We're deducing what that means. We're checking against our memories. But where is that in the subconscious mind? That starts to evolve into picture consciousness. And we don't know that. We think it's that language. But actually, the subconscious mind really thinks and speaks straightforward, simplified, short sentences, and it's literal. That's the best way to learn something new. Don't make it more complicated. Don't make it flowery. Simplify it, associate it, make it straightforward, and you will pick it up faster. That's why languages are taught the way that they are taught. The second dominant language of the subconscious mind is picture consciousness. All of our memories are stored in our subconscious mind. And we tend to, as we get older, think that we're losing our memories. That's a terrible statement to say. We're never losing our memories, but we may be changing how we access them. And that's an important distinction. The subconscious mind never loses anything, but it has an extraordinarily brilliant filing system. And if we don't need the memories that we have had because we have millions of them, it will group them together and it will file them. So they might not come up as quickly. Now here's the mechanism. When we become dominant programmed, and we all do, that's just part of life, part of growing up. We either become positive dominant subconscious terrain or negative dominant subconscious terrain. The mechanism works the same. When we are positive dominant, we recall more positive memories. We are associating more of what we are seeing and taking in with the world against and weighing it against our positive dominant programming, and then attracting more people, places, and things that match that dominant belief. So the world feels like a positive experience. Our life feels like a positive experience. Our relationship to ourselves, to our body, to our ability to see, process, and show up in and participate in the world becomes a positive one. Now, many of us, most of us, every human being has programming. Why? Because every human being has a subconscious mind. And that subconscious mind has both positive and negative memories. Now, what determines what's dominant? The emotion, the heightened emotion, if we experienced pain, fear, loss, if we felt abandoned, if we didn't feel good enough, if we didn't feel smart enough, then at that young age, we were not able to separate ourselves out from the situation. We didn't have an adult, rational mind yet. We were young. When we are young, our subconscious mind is listening to everything from our guardians. That's our parents, that's our guardians, that's our teachers, our caregivers, our elders. They are all the authority figures. You've heard me talk about this before. And so those authority figures hold authority over us. And if we had an experience, peer pressure at school, a peer group, we feel excluded, we don't fit in, we're made fun of. I still remember, as soon as I say that, this is how fast my mind works. Immediately took me back to grade 4, where I was in ballet and not in pottery. But all the cool kids were going to pottery class. Immediately, that's how quickly that memory worked in my subconscious mind when I started talking about peer pressure and peer groups and not fitting in. We associate, and then we find things that validate that. So we all have negative programming. It compounds over time until we actually get into the subconscious mind individually and collapse that belief, collapse that programming, and become positive dominant. The mechanism works the same. Now, one of the most direct routes to that is hypnosis and working with guided imagery. Why? Because the subconscious mind, the brain interprets imagery and associates it quickly. It then begins to line up matching circumstances for it. So it understands the language of imagery. Think about if you dream. When you wake up, you are verbalizing the accounts that happened in the dream. But aren't you actually verbalizing a series of imagery that told you a story? You saw people, you had feelings, you were in places, maybe you were running towards something, running away from something, maybe you were with other people, you remember water, it's imagery. Dominant language of the subconscious mind. And when we are sleeping, subconscious terrain. When we are in hypnosis, subconscious terrain. So imagery becomes a powerful vehicle for healing, for reorganizing that incredible filing system. Now, why does this matter? Because when you do that for what it is that you want to achieve, the health, the wellness, the monetary, the financial security, the happiness, the joy, the reconnection to yourself, the connection to the world that you want to live in, and creating more of that, we are utilizing the mechanism to create an outcome that we want through its primary language that it understands, that it then interprets and creates on the screen of space for us. Now, I know that sounds a little bit, really, can that possibly be how we heal? Can it really be through imagery, Meg? So let me give you some validation. I want to talk about a few things. A few people that I want to discuss too. So the number one psychotherapist, he was actually he was a psychiatrist, Dr. Jerry Epstein. You may have heard me mention him before. Dr. Jerry Epstein was the number one psychiatrist in New York City for many years. He had a practice that was, I think, 35, 40 years old before he passed. He passed before 2010. I think it was 2007, 2008, somewhere in there, 2006 to 2008. And Dr. Jerry Epstein really recognized that through his practice, his patients were not progressing to the level that he had hoped. He wanted full and complete recovery. Now, he had heard through one of his patients that was actually doing remarkably well. He had asked him, "What are you doing differently? What are you doing? And are you doing anything in addition to the work that we're doing here?" And that young man told him that he had been studying with a woman in Israel named Colette Al-Bukhar Muscat. Now, Colette was a profound healer of her time. She has long since passed. She wrote several books, but she was a study of Kabbalism, the tree of life, the Kabbalah. She predominantly used only imagery in her practice, and people were healing. So this young man expressed what he had been studying with Colette, and Dr. Jerry Epstein looked her up, traveled to Israel, was so impressed by her. Now, this is a lady who was very well schooled. She actually had an incredible life, if you ever read about her. She was part of the French Resistance. She was born in Algiers. Her father was the most prominent doctor. She went on to study in Paris at the Sorbonne. She studied psychology. She got a doctorate in philosophy. She studied Jewish religion and the Kabbalah, the tree of life. So she was really pulling in Western and Eastern. She was pulling in all of her medical training as well as esotericism. And her sweet spot was guided imagery because of the power of the subconscious mind. Now, Dr. Jerry was so impressed with her, he put his practice on hold for multiple years and apprenticed with Colette. Came back, created a whole business on imagery, merging these two together. So a couple of examples I want to give you of how profound this is. And keep in mind, this is a resource within us. This is how our minds work. This is learning how to communicate with your subconscious mind in a way that it understands and responds to you. It's quantifiable. You can start to see the changes out in front of you, and you can make the adjustments where necessary. It's not guesswork. It's tracking subconscious response. That's the part that I love the most about clinical hypnotherapy, is it's quantifiable. It's verifiable over time. So there was a man that came to see Dr. Jerry, and Dr. Jerry and he were talking about specific imagery for that patient. That patient had a surgery that he was recovering from. He had a shoulder surgery, and he was recovering faster than anticipated. Now, his orthopedic surgeon knows exactly the timeline, give or take, tissue healing, nerve damage, and so forth after a surgery, and he was 50% faster. So let's say, for example, where he should have been in 12 weeks, he was in 6 weeks. That's very common when you utilize the power of imagery. So his orthopedic surgeon asked him what he was doing, and he said, well, I'm seeing Dr. Jerry Epstein. I'm doing this imagery, and I know I'm going to heal fully, thoroughly, and faster. So the orthopedic surgeon thought that was a little bit strange, but interesting. Now, fast forward, I think it was about a year later, and that same orthopedic surgeon was riding his bicycle in Central Park. He got into a bicycle accident with another bicycle. He fell off his bike and fractured his hip. There was actually a part of his hip, the bone, that was chipped. And he knew that that meant surgery, but he did not want the surgery. He was an athlete. He was a surgeon. He was a triathlete. He had a meet coming up. He did not want to have the surgery and miss everything he'd been training for. So he went to see Dr. Jerry. He contacted his patient and said that you were the one that was talking about imagery. You were healing faster. What were you doing? Who were you doing it with? Called up Dr. Jerry. Dr. Jerry started coming to see him in the hospital twice a week. He started working with guided imagery. Now, the imagery they used, you've heard me say this before, but it's so worth retelling. The imagery that he gave to this patient was, if you can imagine bakers, when you're decorating a cake, when it comes to putting the icing on the cake, it's pretty pristine, especially if you're going to spell out names or you're going to do little rosettes. So they have a specific tool. It looks like a Ziploc bag with a metal tip, pointy metal tip, so that they can be very precise with their decorations of the cake. So Dr. Jerry told the orthopedic surgeon to imagine, so imagination, guided imagery, subconscious mind, imagine taking this tool and pouring in, have it filled up with this white, cloudy liquid, and you're squeezing it in to where the hip fracture is, filling it in with new bone. That was the imagery that he gave him. And so the orthopedic surgeon did this multiple times a day. Subconscious mind learns through repetition. Multiple times a day, over several weeks. The orthopedic surgeon saw his orthopedic surgeon, got his dated x-rays, and on the x-ray showed this cloudy white film in the place where the hip and the piece of hip had been fractured. The orthopedic surgeon said to the patient, "Is that new bone growing?" And the patient, who was also an orthopedic surgeon, the one with the hip fracture, just smiled from ear to ear and thought, this really works. Now, what happened? He did not require the surgery. He was back on his bike within 5 weeks, and he was riding 30 miles a day. Now that's ridiculous. Normally it's 6 weeks before we heal the tissue alone. Now obviously he was in impeccable shape. He was an athlete, so that's much faster than normal. But it's about the possibility here. It's about the power of the forgotten imagery and how that is the superpower of the subconscious mind. So I've worked with people. I worked with a lady who, during our sessions, fell and fractured her wrist. And so we detoured from what we were working on and did some healing work, brought in some guided imagery. She went back, saw her surgeon, got her x-rays, and she was 6 weeks ahead of schedule with her healing, and everything was healing perfectly. She already had full movement of her hand back. That was not normal. Normally that takes much longer. So subconscious mind takes instruction through imagery. It responds in a very straightforward way. Now why? Because we believe it can. Because we don't have long tails compounded over decades to block us from allowing, hear the word, allowing that to happen. We have nothing in the way. In fact, if I told you right now to just close your eyes, just close your eyes and take a deep breath in. And exhale. Now I want you to imagine walking into your kitchen and opening up your fridge. And you see a bright yellow lemon in the fridge. And you take it out. And you put it on the counter, or maybe the countertop. And you get a knife, and you slice down the center of this bright yellow lemon. It's cold, and it's juicy. And I want you to imagine picking up that half a lemon, one half, and bring it up under your nose and smell that cold, juicy lemon. And now I want you to imagine taking a bite out of that cold, juicy lemon. Feel that juice on your face. Maybe a little is dripping on your chin. And taste the sour juice of that lemon. You can open your eyes now. Did your mouth create saliva? Mine did. Because your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference. It doesn't discern between fact and fantasy. Whether you're actually biting into a lemon or whether you're just thinking about it and making that visualization so vivid and real. So what happens? Subconscious mind is now given the information from a dissociation-making mechanism in the brain that operates at the conscious level. It happens in a millisecond. We're eating a fresh lemon. We're sensing the lemon. Immediately, enzymes are created because your subconscious mind governs your body. Hear it, governs your body. So immediately, that lemon juice, if we swallow it, becomes very acidic in the stomach. So immediately, subconscious mind knows we're biting into a lemon, sends enzymes through the salivary glands to mix with that lemon juice so that it's not as acidic when it gets to the stomach. Body response happens like that. It's no different if you're doing imagery about healing. And you have no belief system that says, well, I don't deserve a lemon. I'm certainly not good enough. Life is really expensive and I can't afford lemons, and it's everybody else's fault. And you know what? I just don't get to buy lemons at the supermarket. We don't have anything in the way. We don't have any programming that we have determined is a truth for us when really it's not a truth. It's a false belief that became an identity. You hear the difference? So if we're not manifesting the house, the money, the partner, the health, the body awareness, the love, the happiness, the positivity. Is it what's going on out there? No. That just continues to compound it. It's not negating that a lot of things are happening in the world. Of course, we all have eyes, we see that. But how it affects us personally all day, every day, is contingent on what we believe. And we, through that power of the subconscious mind, through its capabilities and skills, we can heal ourselves. We can line up with opportunities. We can change our financial situation. We can heal our bodies. We can have positive experiences in life and draw like-minded others to us, creating more and more relationships and more unity consciousness. That is all within our range of ability, and you don't need the world to change to do that. You need to change to do that. Is that making sense? So the imagery. I was working with a client just a week ago, and she gave me permission to share this. This was extraordinary. We were working on something else entirely, but when she came to the session, she was visibly not well. She did not want to cancel the session, but she was not feeling well. So when she explained what was happening, she was in a deep fibromyalgia flare and a diverticulitis flare. And if you know what diverticulitis is, that is extraordinarily painful. That is pockets within the intestinal wall. Now imagine food or particles getting stuck there because they're flaring up, they're inflamed, things aren't passing through as easily, and it's like scraping on a raw wound. It's very painful. Fibromyalgia is very debilitating. The brain fog that comes with it, the joint pain that comes with it. So she was visibly unwell. So we immediately got to work with locating the trigger, locating what set it off, the pattern. We have to do some work around that, which we did, but we also brought in imagery specifically for those conditions and that flare. And by the time we finished the session, she didn't have any more pain. And she develops sores on her lower back from the fibromyalgia, and these sores, they drain, so they leak. So we did some imagery work for that specifically as well. And she wrote me a testimonial just 1 week later. They never drained again. They completed in the session, and she never had pain after that. Now, why is that? We doing something, magical? Well, yes, but it's knowing how the subconscious mind responds. So you have to understand what your beliefs are. You have to understand what your triggers are. You have to do some work around that, and then you bring in the imagery. And the subconscious mind just accepts it. If you're in a deep state of hypnosis, you have access to the subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind just accepts the imagery and governs the body. So in the same way that you make enzymes in your mouth from your salivary glands because you imagine eating a lemon, is the same way that you're putting a salve on the sores and you're clearing the intestines. It just accepts it, governs over the body. We also use a technique about anesthesia where you can numb where your pain is. And I've worked with people who have just had surgery, and that is immensely important to be able to do, especially between pain management and then once you're released, your own pain management at home. Your mind can do all of these things. In fact, being in a deep state of hypnosis, working with that level of pain relief, your body creates the same endorphins that the drugs do. It knows how to take care of itself. It knows how to heal. It knows how to manage pain. It knows how to set up anything out in front of you and draw it in that matches your dominant beliefs. So it really is about turning that lens back in on us versus the outside conditions and seeing what it is that we believe and how we're managing, how we're taking care of ourselves, where our energy is all day long. Are we in a stress response all day long, running from one fire to another? Can the body sustain that? Can it heal? What imagery is connotated when you think that way? You see it, don't you? When I say, are you running from one fire to another? Are you stressed all day long? Think about the imagery that is. Now, I know I deal with a lot of high-level corporate clients, and this is something that they learn to manage through hypnosis before work, after work, during work, how they begin to manage, because underneath it all is a belief. Underneath it all. And that comes from our personal experience, from how we were raised when we were too young to really be able to say, well, this is just a set of circumstances. This isn't personal. This isn't about me. We don't know how to do that, so it becomes about us. And those limiting beliefs become false truths, but they become truths to us. They don't become concepts. We don't separate ourselves from that. They become our own truth. And because they feel like a truth and is compounded over time and validated, because when we project from that dominant belief, we attract back the people, places, and things that manage it. So we bring in the partner that's going to make sure that we still have to do all the work or over communicate or whatever that is. We still maintain the same relationships at work, even though we change jobs, it starts to happen again. Our finances, we just make enough, but everything else somehow goes out the door. Patterns. These are patterns of behavior. Patterns. Why? Because of the dominant belief that's been compounded over time. So we don't think they're not true. We absolutely believe they're true. But when we get into hypnotherapy, we pull all of that apart. And we see that it's not actually a truth. It's become a truth. It's become a belief, but it's not an empirical truth like a science equation is an empirical truth. It's based on a perception. And so we start to utilize imagery as a fast track way to start to get what you want. Is that making sense? So I want you to contemplate that between now and next month. What imagery, if you were to give your life, your day to day, just one day regular out of your life, what kind of imagery do you get from that? And you start to see if that's actually creating more positive experiences for you or more negative. And if it's creating more negative, what would the reverse of that be? And I want you to think about something. This is a book that my nose is in a lot. This is an incredible book. Jerry Epstein wrote this. Colette Albacar was a part of it. Look at the title. Thought-provoking. One of the things that I want to share here, Colette said, since we are halfway, we can change what is above like what is below. It is the same game on earth like in the sky. We are able to change the course of events instantly. What happens and what is to happen. I want you to think about that. Between this month and next month, I want you to think about the power that you yield. Because if you are creating, even if it's things that you don't like, don't judge yourself. Please don't judge yourself. Because I want you to hear this. The mechanism is brilliant. You can't not be powerful. And if you are experiencing things that are not fun, that are not pleasant, that are painful, that are uncomfortable, you can create the opposite of all of that. The fact is, if we can create the negative, then we're never not powerful. We're already creating. We just need to learn how to use the mechanism in a way that collapses our personal beliefs. So I want you to think about it. Think about what it would be like to instantly change the course of events in your life. What happens and what is to happen? What would that look like? Hear it. What would that look like? Start to contemplate the forgotten power of the mind, imagery. And we'll continue the conversation next month. So I'll turn it back to you in the studio. I will say thank you to everyone, as always, for allowing me to do this segment every month, for welcoming me in. I appreciate your emails. I read everything that comes to me. Thank you for your feedback. And I will see you next month. Have a wonderful rest of your show. Bye for now.
Thanks, Meg. Awesome stuff. It's going to be a crazy day today, right? Looking forward to it. All right, we're going to do some 2-minute readings. We'll see how this works out. I am using new software, so bear with me here a little bit. Here, I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. I'm going to call out your name so that you know I'm coming to you. Kelly, I'm coming to you first. You guys have listed some of your questions in the question area. I'm probably not going to read that. I'm going to bring you in live with your camera if you wish. If you don't want your camera on, don't okay your camera. But you're going to have to okay your audio and your video. Okay? You're going to get a little box that shows up on your screen that says, yes, I accept to be a panelist, and then I'll bring you in. And then we'll talk and we'll do a quick 2-minute reading, and then we'll do as many as we can here. Probably only 3 or 4, but we'll see what we can get going here to be able to do that. But anyway, I'll bring these in the order that they were. I have to wear my glasses, obviously, when I to see where I'm going. All right, so anyway, right off the bat, here we go with Kelly. Let's see if we can bring Kelly in. Takes a second, and if they don't respond, by the way, what I'll do is I'll just read. Kelly's responding, so we're in good shape here. So Kelly, can you hear me? You have to
unmute. There we go.
There we
Hi.
go. How are you, my
Hi,
dear?
Steve.
Kelly, what part of Ireland are you from?
I'm from St. Louis, Missouri.
St. Louis.
Yes, but I've been living in Ireland for the past 7 years, and I live about an hour south of Dublin.
Oh, awesome. Incredible.
So I'm back in St. Louis right now, and I've come back,
you?
and everybody, I'm not joking, like several people that I know have dementia.
Interesting.
I've just sort of walked into that. So
You've
yeah.
kind of walked into the whole thing, huh? Well, I'm glad you're there.
Yes.
I'm very happy that you're there. Would you like me to read your question, or you want to just go into it?
Sure, if you'd like, go ahead. Sure.
Sure. Basically, she just basically said that she felt that there was, let's see, I'm going to get it right here. She says, is my family cursed? I love it. The greatest efforts on my part yield very little. I am currently extremely ill as well. And that's from Kelly in Ireland. Okay, so let me get into that one real quick. Number one, you're in the middle of something that we call a phantom death. And I will tell you, this was an exit point for you. All right? So this was a possibility for you to go home. What took
That
place?
feels so right to me. Yeah.
Okay,
Wow.
so, well, what took place here is in the beginning, what the group calls around the big table. Around the big table, when you're
Yes.
making your contracts, many times we make contracts to go home because we don't know if we're going to be able to make it. We don't know if things are going to work for us. So we want to be able to get out, so we make contracts for that. You're in that contract now. Now, it doesn't mean you have to
Yes.
go home. It means you can
Yes.
you can decide to stay if you want. You can work this out in different ways if you want. But that's basically what this is you're in the process of doing this right at the moment.
That
and-
makes so much sense.
Well, and that's why you're also bringing other people around you that need healing in different ways. This is also
Yes.
something that because they basically can sense and feel your position and your connection, and they will bring it back and forward, and they'll basically come to you for help. So it's going to
Okay.
seem like you have a lot of people around you that need help or that need
That-
connections in this way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, like that are getting ready to cross over. Yes, I'm
Yes.
kind of surrounded with
Yes.
several people.
Yes. It's actually transition teamwork is what we call that. So there's nothing wrong with it. You put yourself in this situation so that you could get out of here if you wanted to. I don't think you're leaving, to be honest with you. You still have
I don't want to.
good.
No,
Well, you
I'm
still
not
have
ready.
you still have a lot of work to do. There's still a lot of
I do.
contracts that are kicking in and so forth to be able to do
That's
that. And I
right.
think you're going to find that you have that capability and you have opportunities to go through this pretty quickly. So don't panic. St. Louis, I'm hoping St. Louis is good. I'm from St. Louis originally. So.
Yes, I met you here in 2005.
Did you really? Oh, awesome.
Yes, at the bookstore. Yes.
Awesome.
So I've known you a long time. Yes.
We've had a good history.
That makes sense, Steve. Thank you, because it's kind of been freaking me out. I knew this was huge.
It is.
And it's been very tough. Yeah.
It's a big deal.
I've been very ill. Yeah. And I'm like, no, I'm not leaving.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that.
I can kind of feel that.
I'm sorry to hear that you're feeling that. I'm sorry to hear that you have to go through that. People will go through it at different levels, depending on where you're at, depending on what your vulnerabilities are, etc. But you're here and you're anchored in a wonderful place. So keep up the good work, my dear. Good job.
I will, Steve. Thank you.
You bet.
Thank you for that reading. That means a lot to me. And that helps a lot. So thank you.
All right. Bye.
Okay.
All right. Let me see how I do this now. Now I got to figure out all the rest of it. I think I just take her off as a panelist. See how well we can do this. There we go. Bye, Kelly. Thanks. Okay, that worked. What do you know? I think I'm figuring out what I'm doing here. Okay, Jan, you're next. Jan says we almost have no contracts. How can we be of help anyway? I'll bring you in here, Jan, and you can do that. Like I said, if any of you don't want to be live, just don't activate your camera. But you do need to do that. There you go. I just promoted you, Jan. We'll see if you answer those questions that come in real quick. We'll do a quick one. Oh, it didn't go anywhere. Wait. It didn't happen. Ah, there we go. We got you. We got you. Can you hear me, Jan? You have to unmute your microphone and your camera. It's down at the bottom on the left-hand side. Just click on them. They've got a line through them right now. And then speak to me as soon as you do that so we know that we've got this here. Okay, I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to figure that out. In the meantime, I'm going to answer the question that you wrote in here so we can keep things going here because it's really helpful. Let me go back and read it again so I know exactly what we're dealing with here. Okay, what Jan says is I have almost no contracts. How can I be of help? There's nobody here on planet Earth that is just taking up space. Okay, I'll tell you that. Here we go. Here's Jan. Can you hear me? I'm not hearing you yet. Unmute your microphone.
Yep.
There we go. We got it. We got it.
Oh, great.
Welcome. Welcome, Jan. Where are you from?
Originally from Belgium, but we're from the south of France now.
Oh, nice. Nice. Well, welcome. Welcome. So basically what I'm talking about is that basically there's nobody here just taking up space. There are a lot of people that have come in to what we call hold the energy. Now that's kind of a strange situation, but that's what I think you're actually asking is, how do I do this? Do I hold the energy? Do I do it? And there are people that basically have come in to be in a certain direction, to hold it in a certain way and be able to connect with people. But at the same time, they don't see that they're actually having active contracts or active things that they're doing. That is partly what you're doing here, but you, sir, are also a teacher. You've been doing this over and over and over again. You also have a story to tell at some point. I hope you take that to the next level. So I don't think you are just here holding energy, but there are people that do that. What kind of work did you used to do? Or do you do?
Well, actually, I'm retired now. I'm doing nothing else but gardening.
Okay, good.
At the other hand, I must say that ever since yesterday, 5 o'clock in the afternoon European time, I really felt a change in the energy.
That's it.
So for me, the portal is indeed opened.
That's it. Yeah, you felt the energy around. It was kind of an interesting thing. They actually said that it's been opening for days, but we really started to feel this now.
Yeah.
Yesterday and around that energy. So there's lots of opportunities to work with. And by the way, you're working with the earth when you do your gardening. So that is not just nothing anyway. You're doing some important work with the earth and actually planting seeds, if you will, of light in different ways. So that's actually also working in harmony with the planet itself. So that's not just gardening as a fun thing to do. You're actually, like I said, you're actually bringing a lot of energy in here. But you also have a story to tell. Have you ever done any writing?
Yes. But it was not. It was a story about the burnout I have been suffering from.
Good. Okay, excellent. Well, that's perfect. You like I said, you have a story to tell. I can tell you that you are a healer who heals with words. There's different forms of healing that people work with and different things that people work with. But because of being a healer who heals with words, you've probably done a fair amount of what we call kitchen table counseling, where you help other people or you connect with other people in different ways to be able to do that. That is basically who you are. And other people can see that more than you can. But that also means that you probably are going to work on a larger scale at some point to be able to share your story with people, because you really have, and whether that story is actually about your life or whether it's just about could be about your burnout, could be about the things that you're experiencing, there's more to this than what you've currently written. And the group absolutely sees you as a teacher, my friend. So keep up the good work, all right? And
thank you.
Know that you're here on purpose, you bet. All right, thank you now. Take care. All right, let's see if we get another one here. We got another one coming up. Probably help if I turn on my glasses. I can. Here we go. Okay. And the next one is Lou Nareen, dear friend from quite some time ago. So Lou, let's get you hooked up here. I have to find my cursor. I have to find gotta find a lot of things. Here we go. And thank you all for bearing with us here while I play with these things. We're, like I said, we're turning some new things in there. There you go, Lou. I just made you a panelist, so if you can, okay. There you go. Good. And take your microphone and your video off of. There we go. We're getting there. Take those off of mute, and we'll do a quick 2-minute reading. You have to click on the two buttons, one for the audio and one for the video. There you go. Well, tried. We almost got it. One more try. And if not, I'll go ahead and answer the question that you wrote anyway. Okay.
Well, you'll be able to hear me.
There you go.
Big hugs and gentle nudges.
Thank you, Lou.
My webcam doesn't work on Zoom. I apologize.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We know who you are.
You sure do. It's been like 23 years.
23 years. Oh, my goodness. Yes.
Yep.
Where are you living now, Lou? Are you still in Canada?
I'm still in Regina, Saskatchewan, Canada.
Good.
As you know, my passion was gardening and
Yes.
metaphysics. My two passions in life, gardening, plants, and looking after plants and gardening is just fallen away. It's just too much work. Can't keep up with the house. I'm not sure whether I should be moving. Metaphysics is still my passion, always will be. But with Will gone, I'm unable to keep up with everything. You'll know about that.
And Will was your
And
partner of many years.
yes,
You two had a very
32,
special connection. Yes.
Yes, 32 years. And with him gone, it's just I can't keep up, and I'm unsure what to do with myself, whether to sell the house, just unclear. And yesterday was my birthday. The portal opened,
Congratulations.
and I've been kind of panicked for the last few weeks since I heard about it, saying, what will I create for myself? And I am unsure. So I'd love to hear what the group has to say with my thanks.
Well, number one, Will is very much around you. And by the way, you said Will's no longer with you. He passed away. So just to be clear about that. So Will is very much around you. It's kind of an interesting situation. I feel Barbara around me all the time. I'm even fallen in love in the meantime, and I'm pretty convinced that she was behind it. So from the other side of the veil, they have a neutral position on you, and because you two were together for so long and had such a deep connection, you may not feel it. You may not be thinking of him because you're thinking of him probably most of the time anyway. But I will tell you that he is there. He's trying to guide you, trying to open some doors for you. But the timing, excuse me, the timing was not correct, which is why you are feeling stuck. You're feeling like you can't make a decision. You can't feel like things are going on. There was a decision you could have made to put things into motion, to move, and it would have been too early. There would have been some real challenges with it, and basically you've been stopped from doing that. And you're still free choice. I mean, nobody can stop you from doing anything. But that's why you're feeling this vagueness, is basically the timing was not correct. Now I think it is. And now I think you're going to be able to make some decisions as to where you want to live, what you want to do. The garden, excuse me. Sorry. The garden that you built, and with Will, I mean, you took me through it. You actually did a segment when we were doing the Lightmaster things, where Lightmasters were producing little segments, and you took us all through your garden. Absolutely amazing, and a tremendous amount of work. Absolutely. There's other ways that you can do this. You'll never lose your connection with the earth. You'll never lose your love for gardening, your love for different things, but to reassume the amount of work that you were doing before he passed away is probably not going to work for you. I do think that you're probably looking at moving down the road, but I would go slow. You're not in a rush. Things are going to be taken care of for you. You'll find it on somewhat automatic. Your bodysuit is taking good care of you, and Will is taking care of you from the other side. So move slow, my dear. You're fine. And you're part of a large family. Lean on that family. Get out there, talk to people online, connect with people so that they can send you energy, and just reflect your light. That's the main thing about this. But you've done really well, my dear, and you're not done. It's pretty simple. You've got more work to do. You've got more things that I think you're going to be working with in a lot of areas, and I think Will's going to help. So hang in there, my dear. Good job. All right? All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lou. Appreciate it. All right. Let's go to the next one here. Well, oh, wrong cursor. I got too many mice over here. There we go. Okay, the next one up is anonymous. It's an anonymous attendee. Okay, we'll find that one. Hang on. Okay, anonymous attendee. I love it. Of course, it could be anonymous attendee number 1, number 2, number 3, and so forth. Well, I don't see an anonymous attendee in here. So let me just answer the question that's here. Yep, I'm sorry. Like I said, we're finding out the challenges with this system. but I think it's going to work out pretty good. So anyway, let me read this to you, and I will give you the answers to it here as we go. It says, hello, Steve and the team. I recently feel like I was living one day at a time and that my body is barely making it through the day with my blessings and asking for blessings from the highest aspect. My question is, are there any new recommendations on how to care for our bodysuit and support it through the transformation? Thank you very much. Well, yes, there are. What you're experiencing now is with this portal open, we have lots of opportunities to work with this. Now, the bodysuit, as the group defines it, is not your physical body. So I want to make that clear. I want to talk about your physical body for a moment because I think that's where you're having challenges. You have moved very rapidly from one vibrational state to another. And that movement is what has opened up some of the vulnerabilities here, some of the connections that you've had in some of the other parts about this. So that is really where this is. In a fairly short time, this will settle down for you. Okay? Now, what can you do to connect? Well, some of the things you can do to connect are actually start connecting to parts of your own self through your higher self. You're actually going to be able to channel other aspects of you to be able to get ideas and concepts. Now that we have this portal open, one of the things that's going to take place is people start to get new ideas. Real simple. New concepts, new things that are. So anything that you get, talk about, ground it. That's the idea. Because if you get an idea, it's like you've got this conscious stream of ideas that are going through everybody's head. And what happens is you reach up and bring it in. So now you're thinking about this idea, but it's not grounded until you pass it on, you bring it into the earth, you speak it, you write it, you act upon it, something of that nature. And that will produce huge results now, much more so than in the past. So I would absolutely know that you're here on purpose. You're doing good work. I hope you heard this. I'm sorry we weren't able to connect and bring you in live, but we will be doing more of these in the future. I'm going to get better at doing them and faster at doing them. I'm going to do one more after this one, and then we'll move on to the next one. But thank you for writing that, Anonymous. And I appreciate it. I really do. But you're not alone either. There's a lot of people that are feeling these changes, and that rapid movement, the body has to assimilate that. So even though you can move energetically very quick, the physical body is the densest part of you, and it takes up all the extra energy. And that's part of what you're seeing here. So thank you for that. All right, one more here real quick. Let's see what we've got. And that would be Ellie. Is there a process to get on the list for a 2-minute reading? You made it, Ellie. I'm gonna bring you in right now. Let's see. Here we go. Okay, I'm going to make you a panelist, Ellie. And unfortunately, this will be the last one that we can do here. When you said, there you go. You got it. Good. All right. Speak to me when you can, so I know you're there. There you are.
Hi.
Hey, girl. How are you?
I'm doing well, Steve. I truly am.
Good. Good. I'm glad to hear it.
I did want to give you a quick update.
Sure.
To say that that I took your advice and I settled my lawsuit.
You did. Okay, good. And what she's talking about for everybody is we did a session recently. Ellie did a session with me and asked about certain things and aspects. So good. So you're moving now. So things are moving again. Awesome. Incredible.
Yeah.
Okay. There's new contracts coming. I will tell you that. I don't remember exactly what I told you in the previous session, but there are new things that will open up now, and contracts and people you will meet. Now that this energy, because that energy was about the fight, about the argument, about the lawsuit, about all the other stuff. And by the way, you were right in doing that. The group was absolutely in accord with you holding people responsible. Okay? Good job with that.
Thank you.
But I will also tell you that now that part is cleared, you have an opening. And I think I probably even told you that somebody had their eye on you anyway. Someone is kind of watching that. If you want it, so now you've got the decision. You've got the decision whether you want to go back into the type of work that you were doing before, which you're very good at, or go into work for yourself. And both of them have ups and downs. Both of them, obviously, going to work for someone else is a lot safer in the beginning, a lot less problems. You go right into it. You don't have to worry about, am I going to make enough money, etc. The other part of being the business is something that you have to build, but it's going to come together pretty easily for you. And the group is basically saying that if you want to go back into the business and go to work for somebody else, right, you're going to be able to do that fairly easy, but it will be an interim position. Eventually, you're a teacher. You're going back into this. And eventually,
I don't really want to do that, and I
Okay.
really don't want to go work for somebody else. I'm ready to go
Good.
back into doing something for myself, but I feel like I'm scattered. I feel like I've been hiding, and my life has changed tremendously in the last 2.5 years, and I don't know if I'm in the right physical location. I don't know the direction to take this. I don't know if it's super, super spiritual or if it's more blending spirituality and business. I kind of have my feet in both worlds.
right.
And I really don't know the best direction because it's a lot. I'm overwhelmed with the decision.
Right.
So I know I want to go to my own business, but what does that look like? What's the topic?
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. Well, I think that part will come together fairly quickly for you. I do believe that you've already written. Have you not already written a book? Didn't you write something?
I haven't written a book, but
Okay.
I have some. I've written outlines
Okay.
and lots of words.
Well, and again, again, you're a healer who heals with words, so this fits right in with what you're doing. Anything that you can get a large view on, you have an ability to take a snapshot, an energy snapshot of something and interpret it. Now, whether that's a business that you're looking at to help people in business, or whether that's a person who's going through challenges and difficulties, even physical illness, all of those things you have a gift for, because you can sense, you're very empathic, and you have the ability to look at something and see the large outline. You've probably used this in the past. What was it that you did? I don't remember. What kind of work did you do?
Well, most recently I was in private equity.
Okay.
And so it was a real, I'd never done it before, but I did very well and rose to the top of the company. But then, of course, that's when all the downfall happened and
Sure.
hence the lawsuit.
Sure.
But prior to that, I have a master's in spiritual psychology. So prior to that, I had my own business, and I was doing more spiritual work with women, and running retreats. I had a private practice, all of that. But to be honest, I didn't do very well in it. I loved the work, but as far as the business aspect, even though I have a great business savviness, I somehow couldn't do it very well on my own.
Right. Right. Well, I think you're pretty close, and I think things are going to be a little bit different now. There's also people that are going to help you and that weren't there before. And that's what I'd look for. Like I said, I think there's this one guy who has his eye on you, but he wants to bring you into his company. He wants to bring you into his world, which you would do very well in. But at the same time, if you want to move on your own, there are other people that are looking at you that you have not seen yet. Have that exposure in some way. I would do anything you can to ground your light, to ground your wisdom, whether that means opening a website, whether that means doing a podcast, whether that means writing a book. All of those things are very specific ways of grounding your light. And until you actually ground the light, like I said before, if you grab an idea, you bring it in, but it's not actually grounded until you do something with it specifically. You have new energy coming in. You have a brand new channel that's there. You're going to be very excited as you start bringing this stuff through. It is quite different than when you did it before. Relax. It's going to work. It is
And that'll
absolutely
help me
gonna work.
align my 11 aspects.
Yes.
Because that's what I'm.
Yeah, basically what you're doing is you're bringing some of your perfection back. You're bringing some of the parts of it back. Now, I don't actually know whether one of your 11 is really good at business or not. So you may you may end up with a business partner on this side of the veil. I don't know. But either way, there are things that you can bring to that you can create out of this very well. And the message that you're channeling through is very powerful and really needed at this time. So use that large aspect of things when you can. Use that opportunity to see the large piece and give people a reflection of that. And I would look at grounding it in some way, website, podcast, videos, almost anything, YouTube channel, anything of that nature would give you more exposure where some of these people that want to help you can join up with you. That's the key that I would suggest.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome, man. Thanks. It's good to see you. Absolutely.
Yeah, you too.
All right.
Hi to the group. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. And with that, I'm going to have to leave for now. Thank you all for asking your questions. You guys were great. Looks like we got a system that actually works. Took a while. I was doing it with the Light Masters the other day, and I couldn't figure this thing out for anything. We were trying all kinds of crazy stuff. So we brought all the Light Masters in. It was kind of cute. I think it was only like 10 or 12 of them. But we brought in all of them on the same page like yesterday. It was a lot of fun. We've been working together and communicating together for several months now. So for people to actually see who this is, and I get to learn how to actually pronounce some of these names. So anyway, it's worked out pretty well. Anyway, that's what's going on. Let me correct this real quick. I'm going to be back in just a moment. We've got Sandy Sedgebeer here online for you, and we've also got Allison online for you. So we'll be bringing that through in just a few moments. Aspav, everybody. Thanks for being with us here today. I do also do private sessions. I will plug myself a little bit. I only put them up usually 2-3 weeks in advance. Right now, we're completely sold out on the private sessions that I have. I will be putting some up at the end of April. I'm going to be traveling to Belgium here pretty soon, so I'm not going to have a whole lot of time to offer private sessions during April. But I will be doing some of them then. They are $395 for a 45-minute session. You can find out more about that on the website right there if you want to come join us. But in the meantime, come next month and put your name in, because what you do is you ask a question, and that tells me who's in line to ask the next question. So anytime next month when you come in, you can go into the Zoom and ask a question and get a free 2-minute reading. All right. Aspav, everybody. Thanks for being with us. We'll be back shortly with who's coming up next? Sandy Sedgebeer. Hi, everybody. I want to tell you what's coming up on the EES, the Empowerment Stream, the Espavo Empowerment Stream. This next month in April, we're going to be doing, in the first 2 Fridays of the month, we're going to be presenting relationships. We're going to be focusing on the most difficult relationships of all, intimate relationships, one-on-one love relationships. It's really challenging. That's probably the most challenging thing that many humans work with. Some of you are in very successful relationships and would like to improve that. We've got some incredible ideas for you. On top of that, the group would like to bring in some new ideas about how we can open to relationships. If we're interested in relationships and yet don't seem to have that flow, it's actually something internally that we're doing inside the bodysuit. Now, last month we talked about the bodysuit. It's all part of this series of pretending to be a human, of the human lessons of the spirit. So with this, we talked about the bodysuit, how it works. Now we're going to talk about how you interact with that bodysuit with another person. Not only another person, but somebody close enough to where you can actually see your own spirit, which is kind of scary sometimes. I'll be really honest with you. So we've got a lot of things that we'll be working with during these 2 days to show you a different perspective of being able to open yourself up to relationships and how to carry that energy safely and comfortably if you're interested in new relationships. Also, you can use the same material to enhance an existing relationship. It's really all about levels of communication. And as we said, we're starting with the bodysuit, going into relationships, and then going into sexuality, which is all about communication. Then we talk about communication on top of it. So we've got a lot going on with the human lessons for the spirit. But come join us this next month as we delve into one of the most fascinating areas of our human experience, relationships. Aspav, everyone.
Hello, I'm Sandy Sedgbeer, and this month's bookworm is one that has been around for 25 years, but whose content will never ever date. The book is The Dark Side of the Light Chasers, Reclaiming Your Power, Creativity, Brilliance and Dreams, by the late and very much missed teacher Debbie Ford. This book, which was first published in 1998, was a real game changer for me. I picked it up in 2001 when I was looking for an excerpt to publish in the new books section of planetlightworker.com, a monthly online spiritual magazine founded by Steve Rother and myself in 1999. We only had room to publish a small segment, but once I got stuck into the book, there was so much wisdom, so many startling ahas to shift our thinking. I was paralyzed by choice. The book was so provocative, I had to keep taking breaks to ruminate on its implications. For me, having long been interested in psychology, I was familiar with Jung's shadow archetype theory, but that was all in my head. I'd never really related to it personally. But when truth strikes you, it resounds like a bell, and everything changes. Suddenly, with Debbie Ford's down-to-earth explanations and exercises, this information became very real, very personal, and very much in my face. Everything I'd noted in others but avoided seeing in myself was laid bare. Indeed, I met myself in so many of Debbie's stories and explanations, the book might just as well have been titled, "I'm Talking About You, Sandy Sedgbeer." I met myself in every chapter. I recognized me in every example, every anecdote, and every explanation, and every undesirable aspect of my character, every squirm-worthy facet of my personality was suddenly facing me. And Debbie Ford lovingly showed me how to confront and own my shadows, how to embrace them. As Debbie wrote, our shadow formed long ago contains all the parts of us that we've tried to hide or deny. The parts that we believe are not acceptable to our family, friends, and most importantly, us. It's made up of everything that annoys, horrifies, or disgusts us about other people or ourselves. It holds all that we try to hide from those we love, and all that we don't want other people to think or find out about us. As Carl Jung says, our shadow is the person that we would rather not be. From its invisible home deep within our psyche, the shadow wields enormous power over our life. It determines what we can and cannot do, what we will be irresistibly drawn to, and what we will do almost anything to avoid. It dictates our attractions and repulsions and determines what we will love and what we will judge and criticize. Our shadow controls how much success we're entitled to create or how much failure we're doomed to experience. And it's an oracle that predicts all of our behaviors, driving the way we treat those around us and how we treat ourselves. But our shadow can only wield its power over us when we keep it in the dark. And instead of something to be denied, feared, or rejected, it holds our most treasured gifts, the essence of who we really are. When we bring light to the darkness, we find the fundamental parts of ourselves, our true self, buried inside, our greatness, our compassion, and our authenticity. And as we explore this part of us that we've most feared, we become free to experience the full range of our humanness, free to bask in our glorious totality, free to choose what we do in this world. Our shadow delivers us the blessing of our entire self. And when we make peace with it, our life transforms. We no longer have to pretend to be someone we're not. We no longer have to prove that we're good enough, and we no longer have to live in fear. Instead, as we find the gifts of our shadow and revel in all the glory of our true self, we finally find the freedom to create the life we've always desired. As Debbie Ford says, the shadow is not a problem to be solved or an enemy to be conquered, but a fertile field to be cultivated. And when we dig our hands into its rich soil, we will discover the potent seeds of the people we most desire to be. Debbie Ford was an internationally recognized expert in the field of personal transformation, a self-help author, coach, lecturer, and teacher whose first book, this one, became an instant New York Times bestseller after she appeared on Oprah Winfrey's show. Debbie went on to write 8 more books, including A Spiritual Divorce, The Secret of the Shadow, and Why Good People Do Bad Things. And those books have collectively sold over 1 million copies and been translated into 32 languages. Debbie Ford died in 2013 of cancer. She was just 57. But her legacy continues to open the hearts of people across the globe, bringing them the gift of self-love and emotional freedom. And her books are used and shared in universities and institutions of learning and enlightenment worldwide. If you go to Debbie's website at debbieford.com, you can not only get some helpful free gifts, but also gain access to a private video of the world-famous medium James Van Prague facilitating a conversation between Debbie Ford, from the other side, and her sister Ariel Ford on this side, in which Debbie shares her view of planet Earth and us from the other side. The book again is The Dark Side of the Light Chasers by Debbie Ford. And if you're ready to confront, embrace, and integrate all of who you are, there is truly no better place to start. Well, that's it for this week. If you love books, I encourage you to visit the nobsspiritualbookclub.com, where you can download excerpts from several of my bookworms and read the 10 best lists and view over 120 interviews with many leading and not so well known teachers, speakers, and authors sharing their spiritual paths and the 10 best books that influenced them the most on their journey. And finally, if you have a book in you and you don't know where to start getting it out of your head and into the hands of those who are waiting to read it, visit my website, sedgebeer.com, which is home to the No BS Spiritual Book Club. Click on the Work With Me tab and find out how my experience helping others tell their stories might be just what you've been looking for. That's sedgebeer.com, sedgebeer.com. Well, in the meantime, I'll be back next month with another of my favourite bookworms. Till then, be safe, be well, and make the most of the amazing energy that's flooding onto the planet right now. This is what we came for. This is where the fun all begins. I'll see you next month.
Hi, everybody. This is, can you believe, an astrology part of the show. However, I know all of you like to see my rescue pets, all of which are disabled. This is Georgie. He's 9 months old. He's from Cyprus. He only has one front leg. He lost the other one in a road traffic accident. And little Georgie, don't you have the sweetest eyes ever? You do, don't you? And he is just the nicest little boy. And he always goes, please, Mum, I just want to get everything right. And I wasn't naughty. I didn't tear up that thing. I didn't. It wasn't me. Are you gorgeous, Georgie? What is Georgie like? What is Georgie like? Oh, he's a sweet little puppy. He's a sweet little puppy. Yes. You're beautiful. Yes, you're beautiful. Okay. Right. So there we go. He's a Cypriot hound. And I'm going to put him down now. There you go. Oh, and you have to put him down real careful because he falls over on his one leg. Anyway, so that's Georgie. So I'm actually here to do some astrology, but I know you like to see the animals. And remember Cleo, when she wouldn't stop licking me. So I thought, well, the next few sessions, what I'll do is I'll just have one animal after another, and then you can meet the family. So as you know, I spend all my money on these babies. I've got 6 cats, 2 dogs, all of them disabled in some way, and I just adore them. So, and I hope you will too. Right, what I ought to do then is get on with the astrology, shouldn't I? Interesting set of events going on in the world, on the world stage at the moment. I've actually had 2 phone calls about that yesterday. People getting quite frightened of the world is going to end because Pluto is going into Aquarius. Well, first of all, the world is going to end, but not I don't think it's going to be any time this month, to be honest. The world isn't finished yet. The Earth is still being terraformed, if you like, and the planet's still under construction, and the solar system has got billions of years in it yet. So I don't think I'm going to worry about that one. There are a few things to consider, okay, what we should do is we should look at, first of all, what does Pluto represent and what does Aquarius represent, and then look at Pluto's regular habits. What does this planet do? Okay, so first of all, I want to put a sort of a bigger context to this. Right, so Pluto last moved sign in 2008, and it went from it went into Capricorn. I'll get this right. It went from Sagittarius into Capricorn. And on the day that it did, the moon joined it actually for a few hours. And that was the very beginning of the 2008 financial crash. Because when Pluto enters a sign, it tends to bring to the surface everything that zodiac sign represents. And Capricorn represents structures, money, financial institutions, things that we want to save and secure, things we want to pile high and build on. So money and pensions and cars and real estate, property, that kind of stuff. So that happened when Pluto moved into Capricorn. Now Pluto is moving out of Capricorn. Now everybody's going on about, oh, Pluto's going into Aquarius. Yes, but where's it coming from? You have to put the 2 signs together. So it's moving out of Capricorn and into Aquarius. So we have to understand what that interface is about, as well as just Pluto is moving into Aquarius. The outer reaches of any zodiac sign, so the first degree and the last degree, are really quite toughened up, I think. They have a different quality about them because they're feeling the energy of the next zodiac sign, so that they're a bit quirky, very sensitive. So as Pluto moves out of Capricorn, then we get a similar type of financial stirring going on to the one that we got in 2008. Pluto is leaving the sign. So if you can imagine, if you're a zodiac sign, which is just an energy, and there you are, you're just an energy sitting there around the Earth, and this planet comes in, causes all these problems and issues, kind of like having an Ofsted school report if you're in the UK. And then it's on its way out again. As it goes out, it's kind of sucking stuff with it. It's a water planet, stuff clings. And so as a zodiac sign, you're sitting there and you're thinking, get out, damn spot, or what have you, thinking of Macbeth. So Pluto's last sort of contribution before it leaves Capricorn is going to be a bit of a stir again. And so we get all the stuff to do with Credit Suisse and Silicon Valley Bank and all the rest of it. It's simply Pluto moving out of Capricorn and giving it one last do-do-do. Right, so let's cover that. Now let's cover what Aquarius is all about and what the interface is all about. So Aquarius is all about breaking down all of the structures and the routines and the rigid boundaries that Capricorn has put in place. As you go around the zodiac from Aries through to Pisces, every zodiac sign has got to break down the effect of the previous zodiac sign. So Aquarius, sitting after Capricorn, goes, be damned, I don't want the money, I don't want the property. Freedom is the most important thing. Who wants all this capitalist money? I want to walk around in a caftan, smoking a joss stick and wearing leather sandals, says Aquarius. Probably they actually do, I think, some of them. They're the type that attend these pop concerts that, you know, the 5-day ones. Anyway, I'm trying to remember the name of them, but it doesn't matter. Anyway, okay, so if Aquarius is all about freedom and breaking out of the rigid institution and prison, if you like, of Capricorn, then, okay, this is good. But Aquarius is about something else as well. Capricorn's an earth sign, very easy to understand. It's about anything you can touch and taste and feel, and you want piles of it. And it has to be very secure, and you've got to be very authoritative and stern, because earth is, after all, if you look at it, quite solid and stern. It doesn't go anywhere, does it? Okay, Aquarius is an air sign. So Pluto is moving out of earth and into air. That's quite a leap, right? So this planet actually isn't too happy anyway, but never mind the planet. Aquarius is sitting there, freedom, the age of Aquarius, talking to aliens, higher communication with dimensions that we haven't even thought of yet, away from these feeble human people. Aquarians don't like people very much. Let's get away from these feeble human people. This is ridiculous. I've got aspirations of a perfect future. Okay, so Aquarius is thinking all that, and along comes planet. Now, Pluto takes a long time to go through a sign. So if we go from 2008 to 2024, now why have I said 24 instead of 23? Because Pluto at the moment is only going to dip in to Aquarius just for a couple of months. I think it's something like from March to June. And then Pluto goes into retrograde, appears to go backwards, and so goes back into Capricorn again until January of 2024. And that is the final step, the one where Pluto is fully immersed into Aquarius. So if you're excited or fearful about what's happening now, then I'll wait till next January. And it's all right, it's all good. Anyway, so Pluto moving into Aquarius. Aquarius going, what's this? What the hell's this doing in my neck of the woods? Now, what can we imagine Pluto as? I've watched movies about the United States, and I've seen they have these great big fields. They're about the size of the UK, and they have these enormous great machinery, farm things, combine something or other, digger thingy bob, right? These things are about the size of planets. They're certainly about the size of Pluto. And I watched this documentary, I think it was, of one of these cities. It looks like a farm machine thing, go across a field. And I thought, oh my God, that is terraforming. That is changing the surface of the planet. And I thought, oh, that must be like what it is when a planet enters a zodiac sign. So imagine one of those, right? And so that is entering Aquarius. Now, Aquarius is a fixed sign and doesn't really take to being told to do anything. In fact, Aquarius never wants to change a thing. Aquarius is great at telling everybody else how they should change. And Aquarius has a hard time changing their clothes. They don't like to change a thing. It's all got to stay where it is in their lives. They hang on to everything. and in comes farm machinery thing, gouging up all the earth and what have you, and changing stuff. So the first thing we're going to get is lumps of Aquarius, if you can imagine, flying all over the place. So the stuff that Aquarius represents, so freedom, talking to aliens, science fiction, AI, artificial intelligence, all of this stuff suddenly gets splattered all over the place. Can you imagine it now? Can you see how it's happening? And so in the news, you get this. Now, a lot of this hasn't happened yet because it's only just gone in. And so people are saying to me, "Oh, well, it's Credit Suisse is because Pluto's going to Aquarius." No, it's not. It's because Pluto's coming out of Capricorn. It's a financial thing. Aquarius doesn't do finances. Aquarius says, none of us need finances. We've got to go and live on a kibbutz in Israel and share food. Anyway, it's because of this, that, and so that. Well, you haven't even begun to scratch the surface yet. If anything, and I think this is important, I think the revolutionary type status that they have in France at the moment, I think that's definitely Aquarius. Oh yeah, that's it. That has got Aquarius written all over it. And there's nothing like a French Revolution. They revolute, if that's the word, very powerfully. They have great revolutions. Okay, Uranus was actually discovered during a really important part of the American Revolution. I think it was when the British decided to back out or something, or wave the white flag. But anyways, so Uranus, and therefore Aquarius, because one rules the other, is about revolution and change, particularly change of a whole epoch, a whole culture. So a revolution. Revolutions happen fast. They're very masculine actions. Evolution happens slowly. That is a feminine action. Pluto is a feminine planet which brings about evolution, and it's going into a masculine sign which is all about revolution. You can see where I'm coming from now, can't you? Right, with this evolving great big planet size machinery thing moving into Aquarius and splattering all Aquarian stuff everywhere. I believe, and let's face it, Pluto going into Aquarius. Pluto's in Aquarius for 20 years, something like that. I've got that written down somewhere. I should keep these things. So Pluto is in Capricorn for 16 years. That's right. I've got my doggy back. Hello, my little doggy. But Pluto is in Aquarius for 20 years. I mean, that is just like, that's a long time. So we can't sort of pin everything onto this planet and say it's all going to happen in the next month. No, it won't. We'll see the biggest impact next year. And in fact, we'll see an even bigger impact if you really want to go on. 2025, phew! Really, we are looking at big change then, because poor old Uranus, the ruler of Aquarius, has been stuck or incarcerated in Taurus for quite a while. And Taurus is an earth sign. I've got a dog again. Taurus is an earth sign and a very heavy, hard earth sign. I mean, those are concrete Wellingtons. Taurus goes nowhere, very stubborn. And so what's quite interesting is that when Uranus finally gets out of Taurus, here, have a piece of paper and go and tear it up. There we go, that's fine. So when Uranus gets out of Taurus, Uranus is going to go completely berserk. Yahoo, I am free, a bit like a prisoner getting out of prison. And into Gemini. Uranus loves Gemini. It's an air zodiac sign, and Uranus is an air planet, both masculine. Yay! In 2025, that's going to happen whilst Pluto is still in Aquarius. That's when you should be looking and going, ooh, because I truly believe, honestly, we will be talking to aliens. And everybody laughs when I say that. And I'm going, well, you see, I was the one that, I predicted androgyny, remember, in 2015 on this show. Everybody else is like, yeah, I did. And then along came loads of LBQT, lots of change. in sexual choices and stuff, and I was really thrilled to see it, to be honest with you, but I saw it way ahead. Anyway, so that's Pluto moving into Aquarius. I'm not going to have time to talk about Saturn moving into Pisces. That's going to have to wait till next month. Okay, so I want to tell you this bit before I go. Hopefully Steve will leave me on air long enough. I've taken up all the time. I want you to go to a date, 20th of April. I am reading from my notes, I know. Okay, so on that day, 20th of April, the Sun squares Pluto. That's when you'll see small shoots about what Pluto is going to do in Aquarius, so watch for those. We've got Jupiter going conjunct Eris. That is like wild. That is going to be chaos. That is going to be explosive. We've got an eclipsed sun, a new moon, and the sun is eclipsed. Oh, that's big. And that is the second new moon in Aries. Second new moon in Aries in 1 month. That's amazing. And then we've got, and for those of you that love this, Mercury is going retrograde. Now, I don't fuss with that one. I know a lot of you do, so I'll just give you that as well. That all happens on the 20th of April. Look out for that day. Get it in your diaries. I can't wait. I'm going to get a duvet and spend the day on the settee and just watch it on the telly. Anyway, I would like to say namaste. And Georgie and I've said his name is coming. He wants more paper, quick. Georgie and I would like to say thank you very much for listening. And we hope you enjoyed that. And we look forward to seeing you next month. How about that? Okay. Oh, and don't forget to have a reading of me. Don't forget to have a reading of me. That's very important. Find me and have a reading. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye. Because the animals need it. I have to feed them.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back. We've had quite a show today. It's been a fascinating day for us. Okay, a lot of things coming up. I'm going to drop into channel here. We'll bring in Marlia, and we'll close this out today. Espavo, everybody. Greetings, dear ones. I am Marlia. I am the feminine aspect of Merlin. The magic that you all hold between you is far beyond your understanding. Now that this portal has opened, you have opportunities to connect with your magic. We can't wait to see what you do with this. Many of you have been waiting for this for a very long time, and here it is. Some of you have positioned yourselves in the perfect spot to be here when this came up. Now, the question is, what are you going to do with it? How is that going to react for you? What are you going to use? Well, many of you, as the keeper has mentioned, are here holding space. Some of you don't have activities that are going to ingrain you in different levels of the work. And yet, even just holding that energy creates a solid ground from which to grow, where new seeds can plant and new seeds can grow and have all the nourishment and energies that they need in order to do that. Now, with you, you're opening the portal between your other dimensions. There are 11 of you, 12 including the higher self. The higher self is the one piece that connects all of you together. We have our keeper's favorite illustration here with a little diamond in the middle. The light comes in from home, hits a diamond, and spreads off into the different rays of what you call color. We call them multiple dimensions because you'll see that the yellow has a different experience than the blue does, that the green has a different experience than the chartreuse. So with that, you're the same spirit in different levels and in different circumstances. You set many of these up intentionally so that you could have different experiences of the spirit. Your spirit isn't just having one experience, you're collecting data from all over the place. And most of the time, you have hidden parts of your perfection. It's important to be imperfect at all times. It's interesting to us to tell you that what you consider to be beautiful is the perfect imperfection. It must contain imperfection in order to be beautiful. Well, with that, you've got all this beauty in different levels of things, but you've been clearly separated. You've not had to deal with your other dimensions at all. And now they're starting to open. This is a fascinating opportunity for people to step forward. And yet, most people will just feel the normal. You won't move into it until you are activated. Now, how does one become activated? Well, it's really something you do yourself. Yes, you can take courses to be activated. Yes, you can come together with other light workers to be activated. There's many ways to do this, but you can also do this yourself. To go into a sacred base, to go into a meditation, a place where you are talking strictly to you, to your own higher self, and to give yourself permission to connect and to become more perfect. That's part of what you're doing with your bodysuit. Your bodysuit has certain areas that it works in and feels comfortable in. And what's taking place now is you're opening up so many possibilities that most people are just going to reel back and say, it's too much. I can't deal with it. I can't take on, I don't know what to do next. But what we're telling you is all you have to do is take that step. You don't need to worry about where you're going to end up in the long run. Just take the next step. Activate yourselves. Dare to give yourself permission to move forward. Now, the last time we came together, we suggested that you find a triad, that you find a base of 3 people that you would be able to bounce off of and measure your own success, your own evolution, if you will. Not revolution, but evolution. To be able to find that connection to where you can actually measure, because you're always measuring yourself against society in some way. That is part of what the bodysuit naturally does. Naturally finds its position and then validates it by what everybody else is doing. Well, give yourself permission to do something different. Dare to be the oddball in this situation. Dare to not fit in to some of the societal norms. Dare to be different, because many of you are getting new channels that have just opened, and you're not hearing them yet because you're not attuned to them. Give yourself permission to hear new things. Give yourself permission to step forward. Give yourself permission to make mistakes. That's one of the greatest things that humans can do. You are fantastic creators. Each and every one of you are creator beings, and that simply means that you will create your own reality. Make it something special. Dare to reach well beyond the norm. Dare to set your energy out there and step into being the healer. Step into being the teacher. Step into just holding the energy if that's where your joy is. But the reality is, no matter what you do now, you're going to leave a trail of light behind you. And that trail can be followed by others. That is huge. That's one of the largest things that we can tell you you all can do. As you walk through life, you greet things, you touch things, you speak out loud, you ground your light in different ways. And that grounding leaves a trail for others to find. Now, if you take it a step further and you actually become the active teacher, you dare to put your information out there for others to find in a more traditional way, now you're stepping up. And you will feel the weight of the portal that has just opened behind you, giving you confidence, giving you that energy to step forward and do it. Dare to try new things. You may have never considered yourself to be a healer, and yet you may hold answers for someone who's ill. You may hold answers for someone who's having emotional difficulties. All it takes is to be able to see that large picture and visualize it and then speak it. Ground that light. You have so much that's taking place. Now, we also tell you that if we're going to use the illustration of the different levels of connection here with multidimensionality, those that are directly across from you will tend to be somewhat opposite of you. It's just how things normally work. In other words, over here you may be a really good expert at technologies. Maybe technologies are your key. Maybe you're an engineer and you're really good at these things over here. The person directly across from you in this circle of 11 is probably not going to be able to figure out their cell phone. They're going to have more challenges with things. You do that so that you get a wide variety of experience as a spirit on earth, and you design it yourself. You set that up. So what would it be like? Does that mean that when this portal opens, that person is going to, that you're going to go over there and teach this person about technology? No, but what it means is all of a sudden they'll stop having trouble with it. They'll suddenly have insights, they'll suddenly have opportunities to do things, and they won't be afraid of it. Suddenly things will start to work for them, almost as if they had learned all the things that you have learned on your side. Now, sometimes it's extreme. Sometimes over here, with the illustration we've used before, is maybe over on one side of your experience, you're a white supremacist. On the other side, you may be black. You may be Asian. You may be something that is against over here that you're doing. You do this many times to experience different things, and yet most of them are not that extreme. Most of them are just leanings towards something, actually working with something, and that opens up the opportunity for change. And that is incredible. You have different varieties of things that you can work with. And now that this portal is open, the capabilities are endless. So, what are the first things to do? Well, the first thing to do is to give yourself permission to step into it. And we also tell you, dear ones, the feminine energy is grounding in this new light. This portal that has opened possibilities for the feminine energy to ground in a new way, to form a base from which can be built. And that hasn't happened before with the feminine, not to the level that it is now. And that's incredible. And it's not a competition, dear ones. The masculine people on planet Earth also need to carry the feminine energy. They just simply need to carry more of it. You need to have that opportunity to feel everyone. Now, many of you are extreme empaths, and you pick up other people's energies all the time. Sometimes you know what it is. Sometimes you can use that. Sometimes you actually use that in your work. Incredible. And other times, it kind of gets in your way a little bit. But we also tell you that during this time, you're going to be empathic to your other dimensions. And suddenly you'll feel things, you'll hear things, you'll get new ideas. Sometimes they will be in opposition, since you do carry a wide variety of things, than what you already believe. Does that mean that you change your belief systems and adapt it all? No, it means you simply take it in. No one's trying to change you at all. All you're doing is perfecting yourself. And sometimes that means letting go of your belief systems that have held you in a certain place. Yes, belief systems are BS to us. We basically call that because a system around your beliefs usually leads people in very awkward directions. Doesn't mean that you can't have beliefs. You're going to have a number of strong beliefs while you're on the planet. But when you have a belief system, it means that if you believe this, it also means you believe this, and it also means you believe this, and it also means you believe this. Take just the belief, just that one piece. That's all you need. You don't need a supportive set of other beliefs in order to make that work. Clear your field, dear ones. That's what this is going to be about. Find those triad of people that you have and speak it out loud. They don't have to come together in one meeting. You can talk to them individually. But speak it out loud and speak that you are giving yourself permission to step forward into this portal. And then start grounding that light. Start grounding that energy. When you get the new ideas, bring them in. Write them down. Share them with people. Make a video. Do something of that nature to ground the light that's coming in, because it will come in fast. It will come in fast and hot. And your whole purpose is to bring this in and ground it in some way so that you can build on it and you can use it. And you can leave that beautiful trail of light behind you. You've worked a long time to be here at this exact moment, dear ones. It's very magical for us to watch. The light from home is well in your eyes every moment of every day. Bring it out in others. Watch what happens when you make someone smile. All of a sudden you can feel home. Watch what happens when you start integrating other parts of yourself and you become a little closer to perfect than you have been. Now you're starting to evolve the whole game of pretending to be a human. The earth is evolving as well. You're going to see changes with the earth. You're seeing many of them now, but you're seeing most of the ones that were meant to degrade the earth, to take her into challenges. She's there. And now, with the reversal of that core energy to be able to move in a different direction, there's a new basis of love, of magnetism on planet Earth. Tap into it. Find the hope. Grab hold of it. Make something very special out of every moment that you're here. Don't worry if you're doing it right. Don't worry if you're not feeling like you're doing it at all. You're doing it. You are here. You've heard these messages and you've integrated them to some degree already. Now just allow it to come forward. And when you get the ideas, when you get those beautiful connections, all the ideas flow past your head, when you reach up and grab one and call it your own, and it resonates with your spirit, ground it. Speak it. Talk about it. Share it with other people. Leave that trail of light consciously. And you'll see magic start to unfold in so many different ways. The time is right, dear ones. It has begun. The portal is open. Will it stay open? That is up to you. The question we ask is, how much love can you carry? How much can you hold in that beautiful being of yours? We'll find out. We'll find out. It's with the greatest of honor, dear ones, I ask you to treat each other with respect of the highest nature. Nurture one another at every opportunity and play well together as you create this beautiful new game. It's here, and you're here. That connection was well done. I am Merlia, the feminine energy of Merlin. Welcome home, dear ones. I love you dearly. And if you get a chance, come up and see me sometime. Spavo, dear ones. Now, as we leave you, I'll bring you a little thank you to all the wonderful people that help put this on every month. Meg Adamson just does an incredible job. She does a lot of private work as well. please check her out at megadamsonhypnotherapy.com. Absolutely magical. Jillian Raymond at jillianraymond.com. Jilly's doing some awesome stuff. Today's was just magical. I loved it. Absolutely. She's got a lot of information there for you in different places and does private sessions as well. Check out jillianraymond.com. Sandy Sedgebear. She not only helps people with bring their ideas into reality, but she also does the book work. Good job, Sandy. Thanks so much for bringing it the best. And even though that book was 22 years old, it's a powerful book. I've read it myself. Awesome work. Well done. Allison Chester Lambert, we are so glad to meet your dogs. We are so happy. Well, it's kind of funny because all the people that have been watching it for years have seen her dogs clawing at the door and so forth. So we're so happy that you just introduced them. Thank you, Chad. And Allison does private sessions as well. She does private astrology readings. She's a psychological astrologer. She also does work on the BBC. So she's pretty well known. Thanks, Allison, for being a part of the family. On top of that, we have Ellen Arrow, who does most of our graphics, actually adds a lot of the magic to the site. We have Nick Pneumatikos. Excuse me, let me say it right. Nick Pneumatikos. He's our webmaster. He keeps things running for us. He's out of Greece. Well done, Nick. Thank you. And of course, we have Kathy Moran, who does all the support services. If you have a problem, it's probably Kathy that's dealing with it. So thank you, Kathy. She's also a crystal expert and does a lot of work on her own. Absolutely marvelous. Thank you for being a part of the family. And we have Gail Harris, who does a lot of the oversight. She watches a lot of what we're saying and gives us advice on how best to approach things and how to work with it. This is all a part of Aspavo TV. Aspavo TV is taking off in different directions. We are so honored that you are here to be part of that with us. This is the VirtualLight Broadcast. We do it every month. I am so honored to be the channel for the group. Come join us either online or come join us in person at the single place that we're going to be this next month in Leuven, Belgium. You are loved, dear ones. You're part of a really big family. Welcome home, everybody. Aspavo.